Namaste, yogis. I'm Annie Carpenter. Welcome to TerraFlow. And this segment is brought to you by Exhale Center for Sacred Movement, where I teach in Venice, California, and also by YogaEarth. So I thought we'd spend just a couple of moments today discussing, so you can talk back to me even though I can't hear you, discussing a really essential concept in classical yoga. And that is the idea of the kleshas, klesha. Klesha is translated as a hindrance or an obstacle. And basically what Patanjali has done for us is identify a series of things that tend to get in our way to keep us from moving forward on our spiritual path, right? And spiritual path can mean whatever it means to you. And I think that as we talk about this a little bit, you'll see that it's the same in anything. It's the same hindrances that keep us from being intimate in a relationship. It's the same hindrances from keeping us moving forward in any project that we're working on. However, if you're gardening or if you're doing your spiritual work, it's kind of the same. And I find that it's helpful to see those interconnections, the matrix of how these things interplay, because then they're really accessible. And you can start to see them in easy places that it's easy to work on. And then they start to come up in the more challenging places, and you have tools to work with them. So basically there are 5 klesha, and we're going to work with 2 of them, talk about 2 of them today, which I think are really easy to see. If you're like me, you'll see these things come up a million times a day. And they are raga and devesha. These are considered the kleshas that are emotionally based, right? There are others that are intellectual, another one that's more instinctive. These are emotional, and I think this is the stuff in our lives that we sense on a very regular basis. So raga. This is the idea of when we have a pleasant experience, when we have something that's fun, someone we love to be with, we just want to repeat that again and again and again. You might identify this as the addictive cycle. It is the same thing. So those of you who have worked with any kinds of addictions, whether it's TV or alcohol or whatever it is, it's the same thing. It makes us feel good, it makes us feel relaxed, it isn't confronting, and we want to keep repeating that experience over and over and over again. The thing is that when we get attached to repeating anything again, then we're setting ourselves up for, disappointment. Because it's not going to be the same every time. It's never going to be the same experience. And frankly, it's probably never as good as our fantasy about what we thought it was. Right, so we build, in yogic terms, chitta vritti. The mind goes, creating these stories about this fabulous moment in our lives. And we just want to get back there again and again and again. And each time we try, invariably, we're disappointed, we're frustrated. And then a whole nother set of chitta vritti comes up, a whole nother set of disappointments and frustrations. And whether it's anger towards the situation or the person, or anger and frustration towards ourselves, doesn't matter. It's still mind chatter that's keeping us from being able to be still and moving step by step forward on whatever our path is. Right? So that's raga, wanting to have that same chocolate piece taste the same. That same handstand, hold it as long as I did today as I did yesterday. Any of those we recognize now as raga. Now the opposite side of the coin is devesha. And devesha is just that, the opposite, and that is the pushing away of, the aversion towards anything that hasn't been pleasant, that has been negative in any way, that we do not want to go there again. And you might say, well, that sounds healthy. I don't want to put myself in dangerous situations. It's not what we're talking about. We always, always want to keep ourselves and our loved ones and all of humanity, in fact, all of life, we're all interconnected. We want everything, every being to be happy and safe and well. That's not what we're talking about here. But when the mind gets caught up in this cycle of aversion, which is based in fear, I am afraid to feel bad. I am afraid to feel sad. I am afraid I will be hurt. Then the same cycle of chitta vritti starts to go up again. And it's really very similar to its opposite in that it creates whole scenarios around one experience. And what happens is our mind gets filled with that one experience and the negativity we've created around it like a fortress. and we live inside of this fortress. For me, one of the saddest things about this cycle, this hindrance, is that I think it prevents us from trying new things. I think we get to a place where our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and our sense of adventure and, oh, I want to try something new, that tends to get diminished and diminished and diminished because we're afraid it might go badly. And you know what I mean. When you had your heart broken when you were 15, right? What was his name? What was her name? And then you're afraid to jump in and get intimate again. It's the same. Maybe you were doing your drop backs, right? You were in Ovadanyarasana, pushing up into handstand, and you fell, and it hurt. And then for months, you're afraid to try it again. Right? This is what we're talking about. How do we detach ourselves from pushing things away that have fear, depredation, trepidation, any of those things around them? How do we keep ourselves from wanting to do the same thing over and over again, even though we know it's impossible? Well, there's a simple little chant, and if I could give you that, it's very helpful for me, and it is Prati Paksha Bhavanam. And I'm just going to chant it 3 times, and maybe you'll join me. Prati Paksha Bhavanam. Prati Paksha Bhavanam. Prati Paksha Bhavanam. This is a simple mantra that just means cultivate the opposite. So when you find yourself going down that cycle that you're caught up in, whether it's wanting a pleasure, pushing away something that's fearful, pause. Observe the cycle that you've been in before. Pause it. Think about something that's pleasant, that's safe, that's calm, that's connected to your truth, your spirit. That's not about pleasure, that's not about pain. That's about this moment in time. And it can be as simple as remembering your breath. Breath is always in the present moment. Pause, cultivate the opposite. Namaste.